Welcome to our deep dive into the universe. We've got a whole bunch of fascinating facts that you guys have sent in about Earth, the universe, and even the human body.
And some of them are truly mind-blowing.
Yeah, like, honestly, some of these I was like, no way is that actually true, but it is.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into all that today.
Yeah, we're going to separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. So get ready to learn why the sun isn't actually yellow and how many trees it takes to outnumber the stars in the Milky Way.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Okay, so let's start with our home planet Earth. Now, I've always pictured Earth as this perfect sphere, like a giant marble. Is that accurate?
Well, not exactly. Earth is what's called an oblate spheroid, which basically means it bulges a little bit at the equator.
Also, it's kind of like a basketball that's been sat on.
Yeah, that's a good way to visualize it. And the reason for that bulge is centrifugal force. It's the same force that you feel on those spinning amusement park rides. The faster the ride spins, the more you're pushed outwards.
Oh, yeah, totally. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so as the Earth rotates, it creates this outward force that's stronger at the equator, which causes that slight bulge.
So it's not perfectly round.
Nope. And that actually has real-world implications. Believe it or not, that bulge affects things like GPS accuracy because those satellites have to account for the Earth's true shape to give us precise locations.
Wow, that's wild. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this slightly chubby Earth spinning around, and then there's the sun. Which brings me to another fact that blew my mind. Apparently the sun isn't actually yellow.
Right. The sun itself is white, but we perceive it as yellow because of Earth's atmosphere.
So it's kind of like how the sky looks blue, even though space is black.
Exactly. It's all about how light scatters in the atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere filters out certain wavelengths of light, which changes how we see the sun.
Yeah.
And it's also why sunsets look red. The light has to pass through more of the atmosphere at that angle, so it scatters differently.
So it's like our atmosphere is a giant Instagram filter.
You could say that. It's filtering the light and changing the colors we perceive.
That's so cool. Okay, now for this next fact. Get ready to have your mind blown. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way galaxy.
Isn't that incredible? When you think about the vastness of space and all those stars, it's mind-boggling that we have even more trees right here on our planet.
Yeah, it's hard to even picture that many trees.
Right. We're talking about roughly 3 trillion trees compared to maybe 100 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It is, and those trees play a crucial role in our planet's ecosystem. They absorb carbon dioxide, produce oxygen, and provide habitats for countless species.
It really puts into perspective how important it is to protect our forests.
Absolutely, every tree counts. And speaking of things that are crucial for life, let's talk about water. I read that only 1% of Earth's water is actually drinkable.
Oh yeah, that's right. So with the world population growing so rapidly, does that mean we're going to run out of drinking water?
It's definitely a concern. With more people comes a greater demand for resources, including clean water. And as that demand grows, the strain on this already limited resource becomes even more critical.
So what can we do about it? Is there any hope?
Well, there are solutions being explored and implemented. Things like desalination, which removes salt from seawater to make it drinkable.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. And what about rainwater harvesting? Is that a viable solution?
Yeah, rainwater harvesting can be a great way to collect and utilize water that would otherwise be lost. And of course, responsible water usage and conservation efforts are always important.
It's definitely something we all need to be thinking about, both individually and as a society.
Okay.
And here's another fact that really got me thinking. Apparently, there's now more plastic in the ocean than fish.
It's a sad reality, and the consequences are pretty devastating for marine ecosystems.
Yeah, it's scary to think about all that plastic floating around out there. What can we do to address this problem?
Well, reducing our reliance on single-use plastics is a big one. Using reusable bags, water bottles, and containers can make a real difference.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps. And what about cleaning up the plastic that's already in the ocean? Is that even possible?
There are organizations and initiatives focused on ocean cleanup, and their work is incredibly important. But ultimately, preventing more plastic from entering the ocean in the first place is the most effective solution.
It's a reminder that our individual choices really can have a global impact.
Okay.
Let's shift gears now and zoom in on something a little closer to home. The human body. I was amazed to learn that the average human body contains enough iron to make a nail.
It's true. Iron is a vital mineral for our bodies. It's a key component of hemoglobin, which carries oxygen in our red blood cells.
Oh, right. So without iron, we wouldn't be able to get oxygen to our cells.
Exactly. And our bodies are pretty efficient at recycling iron. We get it from our diet, and then our bodies reuse it from old red blood cells.
So we're kind of like walking recycling plants.
In a way, yes. And what's even more amazing is that the iron in our bodies was originally forged in the hearts of stars.
Wow, really?
Yeah, we are literally made of stardust.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Okay, here's another human body fact that surprised me. Apparently, the human brain can't actually feel pain.
Right. The brain itself doesn't have pain receptors. So when we feel a headache, it's not actually the brain that's hurting.
So if it's not the brain, then what is it?
It's the tissues and nerves surrounding the brain that are sending those pain signals.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of like a miscommunication.
Yeah, you could say that. And there are many different types of headaches, each with their own triggers.
Like stress or tension.
Yeah, those are common ones. But also certain foods, changes in weather, even hormonal fluctuations can trigger headaches.
So it's important to pay attention to those triggers and see if there are any patterns.
Exactly. Understanding your triggers can be a powerful tool for managing headaches. Okay, ready for another weird one?
Bring it on.
Our bodies contain more bacteria than human cells.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one before. It's kind of unsettling, isn't it?
It might sound gross, but it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Most of those bacteria are beneficial and essential for our health.
So it's not about being germ-free. It's about having the right balance of bacteria.
That's right. We have a symbiotic relationship with these bacteria. They help us digest food, boost our immune system, and even produce certain vitamins.
Wow, they do all that.
Yep. We're not just individuals, we're complex ecosystems. And the balance of bacteria in our gut, known as the microbiome, is incredibly important for our overall well-being.
And I've heard that our diet can have a big impact on our gut bacteria.
Absolutely. What we eat provides nourishment not just for our bodies, but also for the trillions of bacteria that live within us. So a diverse and balanced diet is key for a healthy microbiome.
Okay, let's move on to some more universe-expanding facts. Have you ever noticed that rainbows always seem to be half circles?
That's just because of our perspective from the ground. Rainbows are actually full circles, but we usually only see the top half because the horizon blocks the rest.
Oh, so if you were up in an airplane, you might be able to see the whole circle.
Yeah, that's right. And the way rainbows form is fascinating. It involves sunlight interacting with water droplets in the air.
I always thought it had something to do with prisms.
Well, prisms can create rainbows too. But in nature, it's the water droplets acting like tiny prisms. The light is refracted or bent as it enters and exits the water droplet, and that's what creates the separation of colors.
So it's like a natural light show.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that the world is full of beauty and wonder if we just take the time to notice it. Okay, ready for a little myth busting?
Always. Let's hear it.
It's a common belief that you can see the Great Wall of China from space with the naked eye.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one too. But is it true?
Nope, it's a myth. While the Great Wall is an impressive structure, it's not actually visible from space without magnification.
So another one bites the dust.
Yeah, it turns out a lot of what we think we know about space and the universe is based on misconceptions and exaggerations.
Okay, brace yourself for this last one.
Yeah.
A teaspoonful of neutron star material would weigh 6 billion tons?
Now that's some serious density.
How is that even possible?
Neutron stars are incredibly dense objects. They're formed when massive stars collapse at the end of their lives, and all that matter gets squeezed into a tiny space.
So it's like taking a mountain and compressing it into a teaspoon.
That's a good analogy. The gravity on a neutron star is so strong that atoms are crushed together, leaving behind mostly neutrons, which are incredibly tightly packed.
That is mind-boggling. It makes you realize just how extreme the universe can be.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that there's still so much we don't know about the universe and its many mysteries.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but my brain is officially full.
Yeah, we've explored some pretty amazing facts about our planet, our bodies, and the universe.
But we're not done yet. We've got even more mind-blowing facts to uncover in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back to our deep dive. I'm still thinking about that teaspoon of neutron star stuff.
Yeah, that one's hard to wrap your head around.
6 billion tons. Okay, are you ready for more?
Hit me with it.
Okay, this one made me laugh when I read it. It's impossible to hum while holding your nose.
Oh, it's true. Try it.
I just tried it and you're right. It doesn't work. Why is that?
Well, when you hum, you need airflow through your nasal passages to create that resonant sound. Holding your nose blocks that airflow so you can't get the vibrations you need.
It's like your nose is the soundboard.
Exactly. It's amazing how much we take for granted about how our bodies work.
Speaking of things we might not fully understand, have you heard of the Mpemba effect?
Oh, yeah, that's a fascinating one. It's the observation that sometimes hot water can freeze faster than cold water.
Wait, really? That doesn't make sense.
I know it sounds counterintuitive, but there's evidence to support it. There are a few theories about why it happens, but scientists are still debating the exact explanation.
This is like a scientific mystery.
It is. And it just goes to show that we don't have all the answers yet. Even something as seemingly simple as water can still surprise us.
Okay, this next one might make some people squirm a little. Did you know that dust is mostly made up of dead skin cells?
It's true. But it's not just human skin. Dust also contains things like animal dander fabric fibers, soil particles, and even tiny bits of meteorites.
So it's like a little bit of everything all mixed together.
Yeah, it's a whole microcosm of the world around us.
Okay, let's talk about space for a bit. It's always been a source of fascination for me. One of the facts you sent in said that space is completely silent.
That's right. Sound waves need a medium to travel like air or water. But space is a vacuum, which means there's no matter for those sound waves to vibrate.
So even if there was a giant explosion in space, we wouldn't hear it?
Nope, it would be completely silent.
That's so weird to think about. All those epic space battles in movies would be totally different without the sound effects.
Yeah, it's one of those things that Hollywood takes creative liberties with. For dramatic effect, they add sound to space scenes, but in reality, it would be eerily quiet.
Okay, here's another space fact that blew my mind. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus.
Yeah, that one's a head-scratcher. But it all comes down to Venus's rotation. In orbit, Venus rotates very slowly on its axis, taking about 243 Earth days to make one full rotation. But it orbits the sun much faster, taking only 225 Earth days.
So a Venusian year is shorter than a Venusian day.
That's right. It's a totally different experience of time than what we're used to on Earth.
It's like time is all relative.
Exactly. All right, for this next one, let's talk about a sweet treat.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Did you know that chocolate milk was originally sold as medicine?
Wait, what? Seriously?
Yep. Back in the 1700s, a physician named Sir Hans Sloane mixed cocoa beans with milk and sugar and marketed it as a health tonic.
So people were drinking chocolate milk to cure their ailments.
Well, back then they thought it had medicinal properties. Whether it actually did or not is another story.
So maybe all those times I crave chocolate milk, it's just my body's way of trying to stay healthy.
Could be. Or maybe you just have a sweet tooth. Okay, this last one really puts things in perspective. Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Whoa, that's crazy. How is that possible?
Well, Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, while the Great Pyramid was built around 2580 BC. That's a difference of over 2,500 years. The first iPhone was released in 2007. So the time between Cleopatra and the iPhone is actually shorter.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. Time is a weird thing.
It is. It's all about perspective. Sometimes events that feel ancient to us are closer in time than we realize.
Okay, are you ready for some more mind-bending facts?
Bring 'em on. I'm ready to have my mind blown again.
Okay, this one might surprise you. All Fruit Loops are the same flavor.
Oh, wait, what? But they're all different colors.
I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. The colors are just for visual appeal. The flavor is the same across all the colors.
So it's all just a marketing trick.
Pretty much. But it's a good example of how our senses can deceive us. Sometimes what we see influences what we taste.
It makes you wonder what other things we perceive as different are actually the same. It's a good question. And it highlights how much we still have to learn about our own perceptions and the world around us. Okay, I think our listeners need a moment to process all this information. We'll be back soon with the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're in the final stretch now, ready to explore even more of those fascinating facts you sent in.
And we've saved some of the most mind-boggling ones for last.
Okay, well, lay it on me. I'm ready to be amazed.
All right, get this. It's snow's metal on Venus.
Metal snow. What are that, like tiny screws and bolts falling from the sky?
Not quite, but it's still pretty wild. Venus has this incredibly hot and dense atmosphere, and certain metals like lead and bismuth actually exist as gases there.
So the metal evaporates.
Exactly. And then as those metallic vapors rise up into the cooler upper atmosphere, they condense and fall back down as metallic snow.
Wow, that's intense. I can't even imagine what that would look like.
Oh.
Okay, this next one sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. There's a planet made entirely of diamonds.
It's true. This planet is called 55 Cancri E, and it's about twice the size of Earth, but 8 times more massive Earth. Scientists believe that its intense pressure and carbon composition have turned it into one giant diamond.
A whole planet made of diamonds. That's incredible. Okay, let's bring it back down to Earth for a minute with a classic challenge. You can't fold a piece of paper in half more than 7 times. Why is that?
It's a matter of geometry. With each fold, you're doubling the thickness of the paper, and the area you have to fold gets smaller and smaller. After 7 folds, it becomes physically impossible to fold it again.
So it's not just because our hands are too small?
Nope. It's a matter of exponential growth. The paper gets too thick and rigid to fold any further.
Okay, I never knew that. Math is weird. Okay, get ready for this one. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than atoms in the observable universe.
That's right. Chess is a game of almost infinite possibilities.
Seriously, how can there be more chess games than atoms?
Well, the number of possible moves in chess grows exponentially with each turn, and when you consider all the different variations, it quickly becomes astronomical.
So even if every person on Earth played chess nonstop for their entire lives, we still wouldn't be able to play every possible game.
Not even close. It's a mind-boggling concept that really highlights the complexity of this seemingly simple game.
Well, I think my brain has officially reached its capacity for amazing facts. We've learned so much about our planet, our bodies, and the vast universe we're all a part of.
It's been a whirlwind of knowledge and exploration.
And I want to thank all of our listeners for sending in these incredible facts.
Yeah, you guys really outdid yourselves this time.
We've had so much fun diving into these mysteries and uncovering the wonders of the universe.
And remember, there's always more to learn and explore.
So keep those curious minds engaged and keep exploring the world around you. And as always, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.